Just gonna give everyone an update here, even though I'm a little out of whack because I was out of town today. So, I think I paused the last video at the Baneslayer Angel. So since then I talked about how I was going to take Murderous Cut, and that's what I did. We had the Kargan Dragonlord that I almost took like 4 rounds ago. Actually got taken by the red deck. The big bombshell here, I think, was this green-white deck taking Gifts Ungiven, and then followed by, of course, Eternal Witness, which makes sense. And so it looks like this deck could be moving into Bant, which I think I suggested a while ago, and I think that's a reasonable direction for it to move. This hurts this Emrakul and Burial Rites pick probably should have been Gifts Ungiven and Burial Rites. Like, taking half of each combo seems bad, but maybe he's going to move into Reanimator with Grizzlebrand and Iona. Ramp deck's got Skred, Mouth of Rotom. So we decided before this started that we wanted people to be able to play the snow cards just to see if they're any good or not. So we're letting people play unlimited snowlands. So like this Skred will actually probably be reasonably good in this deck. I'm not sure how good dealing 4 random damage is for 5 mana, but I guess we'll find out. And so my pick, you can see I took Figure of Destiny, which I previously had not been a huge fan of, but just like evaluating the cards again and just looking at my mana curve, and just realized that, I don't know, it's a card that I should at least be able to get to a 4/4, and it sort of is doing all the things that Dragonlord's doing, but doing them better. It's just more mana efficient. And yeah, I don't know. I thought the red deck probably should take this and not, like the other red deck, should have taken Figure and not Dragonlord. And I decided that it would be good to have one more early play. So Figure, I'm really happy with Figure and Burst Lightning as my 1s, and Reckoner and Flamewake Phoenix as my 3s. And then I'm not even sure if I'm going to take any of these guys. Like, I'll probably take like 2 of them at some point. But I think I may just have Figure, Burst Lightning, and then like Terminate, Dreadbore, Mortars, and then like the 3 mana stones, and then these as 3s, and then just play a bunch of 4s and 5s and hasty dragon creatures. So I think that's going to be my plan going forward. So keep an eye on Kozilek and Blasphemous Act and some of these other cards I got going around. I know I keep putting off these 4 drops, but I'm at least going to take one. Like, my next pair of picks, like, I definitely need to take at least 1, maybe 2. So I could just take Falcon Wrath, Thunderbreak Regent. Also got, I could just go for like the mono haste deck. I could take like Kolagon, Demigod, Falcon Wrath, and just try to get in there with lots and lots of haste. I'm not sure if that's too dedicated to strategy, but we'll think about it. It's unfortunate that Kolagon's second ability doesn't do anything, and if they play a card that they already have in their graveyard or in play, I forget which it is. They take 10 damage. That won't happen since it's singleton format, but still a 6 mana 6/5 haste is fine. And yeah, going forward, we'll just pick up a couple of these, couple sweepers, some of this removal, and a couple of 2-drops, and some guys to round out the curve, and we're getting pretty close to having a deck here, so pretty excited. Going to be taking 2 cards a turn in a couple of rounds, and I'll be back next time, sometime before my next pick. Alright, we're early in round 18 now, trying to hopefully get back on the more normal schedule when I do video cut-ins here. So we left off after Eternal Witness happened, I believe. So here we've got a Boros Charm. Makes sense out of the red-white deck. Something that may have to play around if I'm trying to like Slag Storm them or something. So worth being aware of. Acidic Slime's a card that I thought probably would have gone earlier, but Actually seems like it's probably better in this deck, so it's a little bit awkward. But, like, this seems to be the issue that the green-white decks have. They're fighting each other for many of the same cards. So once the blue-black deck took Nihil Spellbomb, that actually reminded me of that's something I probably should have had on my radar, or at least like had on my list over here. But it's one of the few like black graveyard hate cards that replaces itself, and I do want to play like high impact value cards, so I'll have to think about this and see if there's something else I can do. There's really nothing like heavily graveyard based right now, but I have a feeling that this deck will be. So I'm probably going to need to pick up some sort of graveyard hate, but I may need to go look around and see what's out there. I'd prefer not to just like play Grafdigger's Cage because it doesn't. It's kind of dead, or it like makes my resources worse. Although like obviously stopping a Grizzlebrand reanimation is worth it. Disdainful Stroke seems really bad for me. I'm pretty sure that counters like all of my business spells. Considering that my plan is basically to play a ramp removal spell early and then just start casting 4, 5, and 6 drops the whole game. So at least I only have 1 and not 4. And then Mono Black is still happening over here. Still Moon Cavalier does have protection from black, but I don't have a ton of black cards, and this card I should be able to burn, so I don't think it's going to be a major problem. The Shadowborn Demon's pretty interesting. He doesn't really have a way to fill his graveyard to keep it around, but it certainly like does a good Shriekmaw impression or whatever. So that's where we are right now. 3 more picks before I get to go again. But I know you've heard this a bunch of times, but I do think I'm finally going to start taking 4 drops now. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think there's a good chance I just like grab these 2 cards or something like that. So maybe Sarkin. I'm running out of like 5-drop spots. There's so many good like hasty 5-drop flyers. But I have a couple of them already, so maybe should just focus on these 4s. And then we'll get some sweepers, some mana, some land. Pick up the lightning and the terminate and that sort of stuff once we get into the 2 picks per round thing. So yep, that's where we are now. I'll be back soon with my pick. It's my turn again now. Since the last video, we've had Sword of Fire and Ice, Destructive Revelry, and Body Double. I don't have too much to say. These Destructive Revelry makes sense for Bird deck. There's not a ton of ways to get this sword through, but he could probably draft some. And then Body Double obviously has like Revel Arc combo and some other things it could do with these last few picks here. Or starting to move away from just like random green-white cards. And it's my turn now. And I think it's finally time to take this Thunderbreak Regent. I've been talking about it forever, but already let's take some 4 drops. So I have to think about how I'm actually building the deck. So we got 1, 2, this will probably be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'll probably play like 1 more 4-drop is 15. This goes into 19, 20, 21, 22, and then Rakdos return is 23. And then 17 lands. I think is what I'm going to do, so. Probably time to start drafting the rest of the main deck. Like I said, I think I'm probably not going to main deck any of these 2 drops. I might take Blood Knight or Vexing Shush or Stigma Lasher, like just the sideboard cards. I still think that's what I want to be doing. And then I'll probably take a couple of these sweepers as sideboard cards also. And then like a Blood Moon or a Molten Rain. And then like 1 or 2 of these artifact destruction spells. And some lands. And that'll be it. That's all I have space for. So I want to... Yeah, just get the last couple auto red cards for the main decks. That's why I'm taking this now. Like Falcon Wrath is probably a better card in the deck, but I don't need to take it right now. So we start getting all these black-red cards pretty soon. And the lands and the signets. But this Thunderbreak's really the last mono red card I feel pretty confident that I need, so I'm going to take that now. And then on my next turn, I may just start taking black-red cards. But seems like a pretty easy pick here. Get all the thunder. Alright, I'm up again. Had an interesting development since my last pick is this red-green ramp deck is now a red-green-blue ramp deck. It's taken Kega, the Tide Star, and Breeding Pool. Over here we've had a couple card drafts as well as Thought Scour and Compulsive Research. This really doesn't affect what I'm doing at all. I think I'm pretty close to the point where I'm just goldfishing now. And I'm just going to draft the black and red cards that I want. And that's going to be that, as far as I can tell. So this could be some of these mono red cards that I may not even draft. Or I do want Harness, but the Flame Javelin, Chandra, Sarkin, I may not need any of these really. Steel Hellkite. I think I'm just going to move in and take a few of the very, very high quality cards that I want to be 100% sure that I have. So I think I'm going to take Falcon Wrath Aristocrat now. That's clearly my top 4 drop for this deck. And we'll see how the draft proceeds from there, but I'm probably just going to be picking cards off of here that probably no one else is going to want. At least for a little while, until I start looking at sideboard cards. We'll take some lands too. But yeah, I kind of feel like I've made it through the stressful part of the draft now, especially with him moving into blue here. I feel like I really don't have to fear anyone being in black-red. So I should be able to get all the things I want, and hopefully they were the right things to want, and we will do some winning. I do like winning. The plan, by the way, for when we finish the draft, if I haven't mentioned this yet, is we're going to play... we're each going to play each other. So we're going to do 7 rounds round robin, and then do a top 4 where the number 1 overall seed gets to choose who they play in the top 4. So that's going to add a little wrinkle to it. And then, I guess you don't want your bad matchup to make top 4. And, or to finish first anyway. So that'll be fun. And I'm going to plan to record those games when the time comes and record deck building and all that stuff too. So still a lot to look forward to. But I feel like we're just going to settle in and pick up a lot of the cards on the list and hopefully not get interfered too much. I'll keep an eye on everybody else, but hopefully feel like I'm mostly in the clear now, which is nice. But since I took Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, we've had a couple of interesting picks. I'm going to give a mid-round update here. Right after me went the Laboratory Maniac. I think possibly, excuse me, completing the combo aspect of the green-white deck here. This is now kind of Bant aggro control something. I'm not sure how to describe this. But, so we've got the Greater Good, Gifts Ungiven, Eternal Witness, and he's got Body Double, add Lab Maniac. So there's some combos here. We have the Revelark Safi Blasting Station combo. Can gifts for like Revelark Witness, Body Double, and Lab Maniac, or something like that. I haven't thought about it in great detail, but obviously there's like many ways to go off. If you have Greater Good with Revelark and Safi or some other way to bring it back, you can keep chaining the Greater Goods and then eventually sack the Revelark, bring back the Lab Maniac, draw the last card. So that's going to be a little scary to play against, but hopefully we can disrupt it. Lightning Helix went here, so this is clearly... This is still a red aggro deck, but he's probably going to be Boros. I think Boros, Charm, and Lightning Helix are fine main deck, and then I probably board the Destructive Revelry and maybe another green card somewhere. Sigarda. This green-white deck is more of just a straightforward green. This is just a green-white mid-range deck, whereas this has become this kind of weird Bant deck with that has a creature plan and has a combo plan. So he may even have a transformational sideboard or something. So it'd be interesting to see how that develops. And then these are the most interesting. I'm gonna go here for a second. So we just took 2 more mono black cards. This is obviously just mono black control of some kind. But the interesting picks here, so obviously you have Kataki and Shattering Spree, so 2 off-color artifact hate spells, which obviously means that he's not playing them, obviously, so he must be planning just to take mono artifacts or something the rest of the draft. So this is pretty interesting. I kind of wanted the Shattering Spree at some point. Maybe I should have taken that sooner. I didn't think there was any chance of it disappearing yet, so I've got a few artifact removal over here. Shatter Storm is actually me bad in my deck, which I did not think about when I first made this list. So I think Vandal Blast and maybe one of the creatures, probably 2 cards that I want, but I'm pretty sure Vandal Blast is the best card for me. Unfortunately, it's not an instant like Shattering Spree, so bit of a downside there, but hopefully can manage. I could always take Smelt or even Smash the Smithereens might be good. If I want to add instant speed away to kill an artifact. But yeah, probably up to no good over here with these artifacts. Maybe gonna draft some kind of strange combo or something. I'm not really sure. Maybe Mindslaver Lock. I don't really know. Yeah, so just worth noting that I probably should pick up an artifact. I was gonna pick up an artifact hate spell or 2 anyway, but I'm probably gonna actually take one in my next 2 picks now. Or whoops. And that's probably the only thing that changes here, is that I just need to, again, based on how other people go about handling the rest of this draft, that's going to affect how I go about the rest of my pick order, because most of the cards I'm going to take are pretty much already arranged, but it's just what order I take them so that I can get them before other people want them, and it's hard to say exactly what other people want right now. But anyway, it'll be my pick again in a little while, and I'll be looking at the Vandal Blast and possibly one of these other creatures or another black-red spell. I'm not really sure, so I'll think about it more when my turn comes around. Alright, so it's my turn again. We've had 2 lands and a Brimaz since I last recorded, so nothing too crazy really. The Steam Vents is interesting. I actually think that the Rug, or I guess now it's Teamer, I still call it Rug. The Rug deck doesn't get Steam Vents now, which is kind of interesting, and there aren't any blue cards in this deck, so that's a little bit of a strange choice, but maybe he has another splash in mind. These burn decks did, in Modern, splashed Treasure Cruise before that was banned, but that's not an option anymore, so I'm not really sure what he's looking for. Misty Rainforest, here to go with not Breeding Pool. Again, so we've got Temple Garden going with not Windswept Heath, so good times in a land of mana fixing for everybody. On that note, it's my turn. So I think I may just take some mana fixing. I think my next mana fixing is either Rakdos Signet or Dragon Spell Summit, I think. I'm just kind of moving down the list, but the Signet's kind of, it's fairly irreplaceable. It's the only one effect like that won't deal me damage. And Blasphemous Act is kind of irreplaceable, although I just don't see who would want it, so I'll probably pick that up soon. Same with Terminate and Blightning. And I think those are kind of my next few picks. Maybe I'll grab this Sarkhan sometime soon. I'm not even sure if I'm going to play it. But yeah, it's actually kind of weird. I feel like I'm lacking direction in a way, because I just feel like I don't really need to, or I'm not competing over most of these cards. But like I said before, I may actually grab the Vandal Blast soon too. So I wonder if I just grab it right now, or at least on this swing. Like it probably won't disappear. I don't know how many picks that he can spend on random artifact hate. Is Vandal Blast high on that list? I think it may just not be. So there's Shatter Storm, there's Creeping Corrosion, there's Fracturing Gust. So basically, like, these cards only become relevant if other people start taking them. And no one is really bitten here, but they may just be waiting for the way back. So I could take Terminate, could take Rakdos Signet, could take the land, that's sort of the same pick. Could take Vandal Blast. Could take Sarkin. I think that's what I'm looking at one of those right now. There's definitely a lot of ways I could go here. I took a minute to think about it. So I think I'm not going to take Vandal Blast yet. I think I'm only going to have room in my sideboard for 1 or 2 artifact hate cards. And I don't think it really matters that much which one I get, even if it's Smelt or Manic Vandal or something. It's just not going to be a major part of the metagame, so I don't think I should be using a pick like that right now. Dark Betrayal is something I thought of, like that's something that could disappear. It's only really good against 3 decks, though. Well, certainly good against those decks, like, I don't know, Terminate hits every creature. So I maybe should just take that right now. But so a lot of options. I think I'm going to take Terminate, and I'm going to take the Signet. Okay, talked about a while ago, and just stick with that. I think I'm going to wait on taking any more 5-drops. I do like Sarkin and Bituminous Blast, possibly. But I just have so many 5s already. And 6 and a 7, and like you can't just play mono 5-drops. So, like, I probably wouldn't be main decking all of these. Like, I am 100% sure I'm going to main deck Terminate, so it's going to be good against everybody. So I'm just going to go with that. Really cement myself in black-red, and then get into some of the mana fixing and some of the last few cards here. So Terminate is going to be my pick, and we'll see what everyone else does. Alright, it's my turn again. The seed to my left took Blood Moon and Plow Under, which is interesting, so 2 land disruptive effects. Blood Moon in particular is something interesting. Something I could have taken. It probably most naturally goes in my deck, but I just didn't think it was high enough impact. Like, people are gonna have, this isn't like Modern Constructed where people literally play like 1 or 2 basic lands in their deck sometimes. If people are going to have a few non-basics, but I don't think this is going to like massively hose anyone or just make them unable to play Magic a huge percentage of the time. So I might have grabbed it real late, but I still think it's not something I should have taken yet. So that's fine. Over here we've got this crazy Reanimator stuff going on, so probably going to need to draft some kind of sideboard. We got Sphinx, Iona, Grizzlebrand. There's an Emrakul that maybe he's going to, I mean, I'm sure he's going to find some way to cheat in the play. I'm not sure how, because, like, show and tell's not legal, but he'll probably figure it out. So this brings up my pick, and I think I'm going to take a card I have not talked about at all, but I was thinking about land destruction, and then I came up with, well, like, what Fulminator Mage or Avalanche Riders, but those basically aren't that different, really, than casting Stone Rain. I did a Blood Moon on my list. Than Stone Rain or Molten Rain, because I'm not going to be able to pay the echo cost. Or I'm just going to sacrifice this guy. And then, so I was reading Avalanche Riders, because it's kind of an older card I haven't played with much. And then I was like, wait a minute, didn't they basically make a better version of this card, Goblin Ruin Blaster, that I did play with Simon Zendikar? And I actually have a fun story about a Legacy tournament that I entered once with a standard deck, because I didn't realize it was a Legacy tournament that day, and I ended up like blowing up a Bayou with a Goblin Ruin Blaster and Mana Scream my opponent. So that was kind of a weird way that I beat a Legacy deck with a standard deck a couple years ago. Anyway, so I think the Ruin Blaster, 1, actually goes in my deck, and 2, is fairly irreplaceable. Like, I can't think of something that does what that card does that's on that level, so I think I should just take it. And then my next swing back, I basically get 3 picks. So I'll probably take. So let's talk about that. I'm gonna grab. I'll probably grab Lightning, and then like a mana fixer. So probably Lightning, Signet, and then maybe I'll take Sarkin. Maybe I'll probably take a threat, a Lightning, and a mana fixer. Or I'll take this thing maybe. But definitely got options, so we'll think about that. But for now, we'll blast the ruins. We're up again after a few days delay here. And we'll just go through some of the other picks. The mono red deck took Vexing Devil and Hellrider, mono red doing mono red things. These green white decks are kind of infringing on each other still. It's Chameleon Colossus seems pretty good against the mono black deck. Hallowed Fountain, which I think was mostly taken because the other deck took Flooded Strand, which I think is just an off-color fetch land for Courser and Knight of the Reliquary. But of all the available off-color fetch lands, this one probably hosed another player more so than any other one, so that's probably why it got taken. Oversoul of Dusk is a tough card for my deck to beat. We can kill it with Karn. Maybe we can race it. Thundermaw Hellkite still taps it, which could be relevant for racing. Yes, I think it does. So Thundermaw deals 1 damage and taps all their flyers. So it wouldn't take the 1 damage, but I believe it would still tap it. I'll have to check that rule. Mono black, still doing mono black things with Bloodghast and Erebos. And then I have no idea what's going on over here. Ensnaring Bridge and Expedition Map after these. So maybe he's just like going. I think he's going to probably draft Tezzeret. Maybe both Tezzerets, at least the blue black one. And then do something crazy with artifacts. So you probably want to have some artifact and graveyard removal. I've reorganized the spreadsheet a bit just to separate what I've taken is up here still. What I can't take anymore is down here. And these blue cards are kind of the things I'm like very certain that I want to take. So you have 23 picks left. I think there's let's see, 10, 13. There's 18 cards in blue. So it's probably these plus like about 5 other cards that I'll probably take at the end, depending on where the rest of the draft goes. The cards I'm thinking about right now, or at least are still the ones that are fairly irreplaceable effects. So, and ones that other people could take. So like Lightning and Dreadbore and Olivia are all fairly irreplaceable, but also aren't cards I see anyone else grabbing at this point. So I'm not going to take them yet. Sarkin's good, and I think is better than Demigod of Revenge when you only can play 1. But they're pretty similar, so I'm not going to take that yet. Ugin I realize should have been on my list, although 8 is a lot more than 7. So I'm a little afraid that I won't be able to cast this. This is another way to kill Oversoul of Dusk, and it's a great way to come back from a crazy board state. It'll also be another way to kill like enchantments, since I'm not playing colors that can kill enchantments. So it's worth being aware of all of these things. And I don't think I need to take it now. I don't know. Well, I guess that ramp deck could get to 8 mana. Harness by Force is another one I could see the red-green deck taking. So those are. I think the pick is probably one of these 2 cards. Apostle's Blessing is pretty irreplaceable, although I'm not sure how good it is in my deck. I think it's the only one of that effect that's not in white, basically. So I could definitely play this. I do want to get a Wrath or Sweeper effect at some point. There are a lot of them though, so I'm not sure if Blasphemous Act and Chain Reaction are just going to end up being better than these 2 or 3 damage spells. Because I was looking through other people's decks, and there's really not that many things you can kill. There's actually very, very few 3 toughness creatures for Anger or Slag Storm. I think there's like Skinrender and Vampire Nighthawk. And Revel Arc, although it basically does its job just when it hits play. A lot of times you don't even want to kill that. And not a ton else. Monastery Mentor after a Prowess trigger, I guess, is a 3/3. There's really not a ton of things out there. A lot of these creatures have 4 toughness. So I think I'm going to wait on taking a Sweeper effect. So I think this comes down to Harness and Ugin. Both these cards are pretty good. I think that actually I'm going to take Harness because, so I'm probably not going to main deck it, but it's really one of my main outs to all of this nonsense. Well, I guess I can't take Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Iona's going to name red. Okay, actually, I'm probably not beating these cards. I was going to say I could like steal what he reanimates and maybe steal a win that way instead of just eating his graveyard. But Grizzlebrand's going to draw him cards. Although if they steal 7 in response to Harness by Force, they might just be dead. Because then they're taking 7. And I get to draw 7. So it's pretty good against Grizzlebrand, but it's not beating Iona. Can't target this thing. Not sure how much I should be worried about that. I wonder if I should actually take Ugin. Ugin's really sweet. Ugin just beats everything. Getting to 8 mana is not easy. It's probably not going to be viable in every matchup. I could see some of these matchups going pretty long though. Yeah. Alright. I'm convinced. Alright, so I think I'm going to take Ugin here. And then on my next pick, I'll probably take Harness by Force. And maybe Apostle's Blessing, maybe Deathmark. Yeah, probably be like 2 of those 3 cards. But yeah, Ugin's just too sweet. I don't know how you could pass it. This card's absurdly powerful. Could steal games. We'll go with Ugin. Also, it's maybe the longest name. Just gotta make the column a little bigger here. Alright, so then starting next round we get to take 2 cards at once. And hopefully this will go a little faster. We've been going for almost a month now, so I'm looking forward to actually finishing these decks and playing with them.